Welcome to Definition Church, everybody.
Well, this is where it all began. A little country church on the north side of town. A small building, no parking lot, no nursery, no office. The truth is, we didn't have much to work with in regard to resources. But we did have a secret. We were desperate. The church was desperate. They were only 3 years old. They started with about 100 people and were down to 35.
Walking into the little country church that we talk about so often was, I just have to be honest, it's like I'm leaving everything I've ever known for this. But I think that at the same time, it was like, this is something that we can make our own. God, you can use us from this tiny little church to do something great, because I've always known about Alan that he had so much passion about Jesus that I just always knew there was no telling, what he could do.
We'd only been married 4 years, but it had been a challenging 4 years.
It was kind of a scary time because we've all heard about how Alan and I had a crisis in our marriage, and that I had told him I never wanted to be in the ministry, but God really had begun to do a work. So we stepped into Greensboro and started to pastor Daystar Church. And it was kind of scary, but I also knew that God had called Alan, and I loved Alan. And so I think I was kind of following along at that time.
It was a big step of faith. We had no family here, no friends. We were so young and inexperienced, and we were taking over a failing church. We believed God was leading us to Greensboro to plant our lives, to build a church, to impact the city. And I told the church that weekend, if you call me to be your pastor, we've got to do whatever it takes to reach as many people as possible for Jesus. The truth is, at that time, I didn't even know what that meant.
I remember that night so clearly. We were in the little fellowship hall, and I remember the conversation that he had with them, and they were so excited. That passion in Alan has never changed. He's always had such an unwavering passion for the lost. And so I knew when he said that, he was serious.
What I knew is that people needed Jesus, and we were going to do whatever we had to do to tell our city about him. Well, man, that was really a breakthrough moment. It was a breakthrough moment for me and Tina. It really strengthened our marriage because we had to stand and work together to do ministry.
I think that in the struggles, I think we really tried to, not saying it wasn't hard, it was hard, but I think we really tried to lean into the Lord and make a decision to trust Him. It gave me an opportunity to walk the road with Alan and stand with him, and I think there's something so beautiful about that, and that strengthened my faith that, I think in the beginning there was a part of me that felt like that just Alan was called, but I think along the way I realized that God had called me too in the ministry. And so I think through all of that, I was able to see, no, God has called me to this. God has equipped me to do this. So I think standing with Him strengthened my faith. It made me stronger. It made me see the calling upon my life. And ultimately, too, it just strengthened our connection.
We were in this together. Tina and I knew we couldn't do it alone. And for all of us, it strengthened our connection to Jesus. We knew we couldn't do it without Him. So looking back, it was scary, but so exciting. God was with us.